got their vengeance tonight? That's what we're about to find out. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling for your NXT Vengeance pay-per-view. What? Pay-per-view. It's not even pay-per-views anymore. Special events, I guess. Subscription-based premium shows, premium live events. Call it what you want. Look. It was NXT Vengeance, and before we get into the show, I like the name Vengeance. You know, it's a good name for a pay-per-view. It's a very solid name, and I'm glad that WWE brought it back in some capacity. Obviously, before it got reintroduced to NXT, I think the last Vengeance was like 2007 or 2008. So yeah, it's been a long time before we've seen this pay-per-view. There's been some really bad names over the years, so I am glad they brought Vengeance back. However, I was thinking of classic Vengeance pay-per-views, or even like, you know, standout matches at Vengeance pay-per-views back in the day. I couldn't even think of one. So let me know, guys, down below. What is your favourite Vengeance pay-per-view ever? I can't even think of any. I think when it originally came out back in like the early 2000s, I believe it was initially a Raw pay-per-view, and then they gave it to SmackDown. I mean, I could be wrong there, but that's what I remember. But anyway, forget about that. Let me know your favourite Vengeance pay-per-view / match down in the comments, and we will now move on to this year's Vengeance, NXT's Vengeance, the first NXT pay-per-view of the year. Now, there was some NXT people participating in this year's Royal Rumble, so it's not the first time we've seen the likes of Roxanne Perez or whatever on a premium live event in 2023, but tonight she was defending her title. And one thing I don't know why I'm going to bring this up here, but I wonder why NXT participants featured in the Women's Royal Rumble, but they didn't in the men's. Could it just be down to the fact that the women's roster fucking sucks and there's not enough to like fit 30 women into a Royal Rumble, whereas there's enough to fit 30 men? It could be that. Anyway, who cares? Let's talk about tonight's show. We kick off with the NXT North American title match. We've got D-Jack challenging the champion, Wes Lee. D-Jack comes out looking like $1 million fucking dollars. This guy should be champ, and not just North American champ. This guy should be the champ. This guy looks like a fucking walking Terminator. Legit reminds me of the Punisher. Comes out with a big leather jacket on, the sunglasses on, and he just looks the part. You know, he looks fucking phenomenal. But unfortunately, he didn't win. No, he did not win. He had a good match with Wes Lee, but for me, this went on too long. There was a lot of times in the match where you thought D-Jack was going to win, but then Wes Lee was kicking out. Wes Lee kicked out of his big finisher, and then Wes Lee hit his finisher, and D-Jack kicked out of that. So you had both guys kicking out of each other's finisher, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest. I don't really like when they do that. I mean, I think a finisher should finish the match, so that's just my opinion. It's kind of in the name as well, you know, a finisher. Remember, it was like back in the day, you had like those Dead or Alive games or the Tekken games, and when you got your opponent down to like the last bit of health, it would like pop up on the screen, and it would be like, finish him. I mean, the reason it said finish him is because when you hit the next move, he died, you know, so that's why finishers should finish the match. But in WWE, in wrestling, not even WWE, but in wrestling, that doesn't seem to happen anymore. So, but I think it should. We then see them brawl to the outside. Wes Lee hit a Hurricane Rana off the top rope, and it planted D-Jack on his head. Bit of a nasty moment there. D-Jack could have been hurt, but thankfully he looks alright. So he gets up, he sits, they get to the outside, he sits Wes Lee on a chair. He goes to the top rope. I don't know what he's going to try and do here. He's going to do some move from the top rope to the outside, but then Stax and Tony D get involved. They push Wes Lee out the way on the chair, so Wes Lee just gets like pushed to the side while he's sitting on the chair, and then D-Jack comes off the top rope and crashes into both Stax and 2 times. Then D-Jack gets back in the ring, but he gets caught with a super kick by Wes Lee. Then Lee flips him into the corner and hits the overhead kick on D-Jack to get the win. 1, 2, 3. So I mean, D-Jack loses, but I mean, he doesn't look too weak, because at the end of the day, he was kind of screwed out of the belt by Stax and Tony D for interfering, but at the same time, he still lost to Wes Lee. You know, he lost to a guy that is like half his fucking size. So I don't agree with this at all. I think Wes Lee is pretty boring. I don't really see anything in Wes Lee. You know, he's just a guy. You know, that is not to be, you know, harsh on him, but he is literally just a guy. There's plenty people like Wes Lee, and I do feel sorry for what happened, you know, at the start of last year or whatever, when his tag team partner got, you know, kicked out the WWE for those fake claims and all that shit, and they had to, you know, forfeit the NXT tag team titles. That does suck for him, and I guess it's nice to see him get a run with NXT North American Championship. And you have to wonder, maybe is it WWE feeling guilty that he had to sacrifice his first title run? Is that maybe leading to the fact that he's even got this title reign? Maybe. So you know what, I guess it's good for him and all this stuff, but nah, D-Jack should have won this. I don't really understand what they're doing here. We've just seen D-Jack and Tony D get involved with each other. We've seen D-Jack and Stax get involved with each other. Are we really going back to revisit that? Could we potentially get a triple threat match down the line for the title? I mean, maybe, but I don't know. I mean, if this is to move D-Jack away from the NXT North American title and push him into the main event picture, then I would say that's great. But based on how this pay-per-view ended, I don't think that's the case. But you know what? I mean, it was a good opening match, but if I had to criticise it, I would have to say it went too long. I think that Wes Lee kicked out of too many big moves from D-Jack, and I think the wrong person won as well. So, I mean, it was a good opener, but I don't agree with, you know, how it finished and the amount of moves that Wes Lee kicked out. I know you can say, oh, he was resilient and all this stuff, but at one point, D-Jack literally hit his finisher, the high end or whatever it's called, the high tower. Well, I think he calls it the high justice. So D-Jack hit high justice, and literally Wes Lee kicked out straight away and started climbing back to his feet. I mean, talk about a no-sell. It was like, what the fuck were they doing? I don't know. But anyway, like I said, it was decent. It was decent. Then we go into the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Fallon Henley and Kiana James versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Lots of tag team offense here for Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. I do not like them at all, but at least they do have a lot of tag team, you know, they have a lot of tag team maneuvers. They kind of dress similar, you know, they're color coded. I know that's a small thing, but at least they do look like a tag team. So that, I'll give them credit for that. I fucking do not like them. I hate the chant that the crowd do, the whole you know, that, whatever that is called. I hate that. It gets on my nerves, but you know, at least they do kind of remind me of a tag team. During the match, at the start of the match, even we had Katana Chance, or was it Kaden Carter? I'm forgetting who's who. Kaden Carter's like the black chick, isn't she? Yeah, the thick one. Yeah, so like she slaps the ass of one of the guys on the outside, and apparently she friend zoned him or whatever, and she done this to try and play mind games with Kiana James. You know, lots of moves. Essentially, in the end, Fallon Henley and Kiana James win. Kiana James cheats, and Kaden Carter is, you know, she has her legs caught and she can't kick out, essentially, from a roll-up. I mean, again, it was another match that seemed to go too long, in my opinion. We've got new champs. Be interesting to see what happens with the new champs. We know that Kiana James and Fallon Henley can't really stand each other, so, I mean, could this be a long title reign? Maybe they'll, I don't know, maybe they'll turn into a legit team, or this could just be like sort of a transitional. This could be a short run. You know, this could be literally just used to try and, you know, build up this feud a little bit, or build up the storyline. And who knows, maybe as soon as they do lose the belts, Kiana James will just, you know, dump that guy, and she'll be like, I was only using you, you know, I don't care about you, blah, 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 blah. Who knows, but, I mean, well, I was a bit surprised that we have new champs, but again, I don't really care, so it's not a big deal. But then we move into the 2 out of 3 falls match with Carmelo Hayes and Apollo Crews. Now, this was strange because it was 2 out of 3 falls, and normally if something's 2 out of 3 falls, you know that you're guaranteed to go to the third fall. Normally the heel will win the first fall and then the face will level up at 1-1, you know that, or sometimes the face will win the first fall, then the heel will win the second fall. It doesn't really matter who wins what fall. The whole point is here, it always gets set up for, you know, for that third and final fall. Oh, it's 1-1 and we're going to go into the last fall. However, this one was different. Carmelo Hayes wins 2 falls to 0, and for me, I was a little bit shocked. Now, I hate how predictable these matches are, so I will give them a bit of, you know, I'll give them a bit of praise for not going to the last fall, but at the same time, it was like, oh, it's because always these matches do go to the final fall. It's like, you just expect it. So when this match ended, like, it was like, it just felt like so abrupt. It was weird, you know. I'm not, like I said, I give them praise for not going to the last fall, but at the same time, it felt a little disappointing because they didn't go to the last fall. So I guess it's just one of those things, you know. You're screwed if you do, and you're screwed if you don't. But during the match, we had Apollo Crews' former teammate come out. You know, the big guy, Commander Aziz. He tried to help Crews, but it didn't really happen. And then, as soon as he came out to even up the odds, Crews lost the second fall. And it was like, what the fuck is this? It was weird. You know, the match was okay. It wasn't great, in my opinion. It was just okay. Booker T said that this could main event any show. I mean, I doubt that. WrestleMania 39, this main event, I don't think so. But I mean, it was alright. Carmelo Hayes, like I said, he wins by 2 falls to 0. After the match, Trick and Hayes celebrate. We go to the replays, then we come back and we see the big Commander guy. He helps up Crews, and then he's got like this sinister look on his face. He headbutts Crews, and then the fans are booing, and then he hits a big massive sit-out powerbomb on Apollo Crews. So, I mean, it looks like Commander Aziz literally just appeared to turn heel. And I guess we'll be getting a feud between him and Crews. I don't know. I actually like Crews. I think since he went back to NXT, I think his career's been a lot better. I really like his current character. He's doing some cool stuff, cool segments, vignettes and stuff like that. But the guy just seems to lose non-stop. So it's hard to be successful or hard to get over if you're constantly losing. So I don't know. I guess we'll see this feud with Commander Aziz. Am I excited for it? Probably not, but we'll see what happens. Then we get a selfie video for Valentina Feroz and Wendy Chu at a watch party. Feroz says she's accepted Lyra Valkyrie's challenge for Tuesday. Chu thinks she can get the win. Elektra Lopez walks up and says that Feroz may need help. Chu says she won't need help, but if she needs support, Chu will be in her corner. Lopez then walks off and Feroz welcomes Lyra to her jungle. So, I mean, just... it wasn't great, really wasn't great. Then we see the new NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. They're backstage. We get some champagne bottles popping, and it's time to go and party. So basically a nothing segment back here, just showing these guys drinking some champagne and celebrating. Then we see footage of Chase U outside of the arena. They get here. Hometown star Andrew Chase is hyping up Duke Hudson and Thea Hall. We then get the fatal 4-way match for the NXT tag team titles. It's Chase University versus Gallus versus Pretty Deadly versus the New Day. And a bit of a weird match. In the end, Gallus get the win, and they beat the New Day. They beat Xavier Woods clean with a finisher that looks fucking terrible. But before this, like 3 minutes before this, they also hit a double team move on Chase U, and it looked just as bad, to be honest, when they hit it on Andrew Chase, but Andrew Chase managed to kick out. So it was weird that Chase kicked out, but the one half of the tag champs didn't kick out, so Woods gets beat clean. Pretty strange in my opinion. But yeah, we have new tag team champs. Gallus are the new champions, and NXT Vengeance finishes with Gallus. The Gallus boys on top. So there you go, boom. New champs. Then we move into the triple threat match for the NXT Women's title. Gigi Dolan versus Jacy Jayne versus Roxanne Perez. So here we go. Toxic Attraction come out first. And then we get NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez, I don't know if she was like cosplaying again tonight, but she looked like It the Clown or something. Maybe I'm wrong here, but she did look like It the Clown. Anyway, they have their match. We all know how this is going to go down. Toxic Attraction at the start, double team Perez. Then they can't decide who's going to win. So Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane start battling out to decide who's going to be the new NXT champion. Then Roxanne Perez gets back in the mix. Then we have a triple threat match, all three ladies for themselves. Then it begins to turn back into a handicap match. And then we get Gigi Dolan falling through a table, and then Roxanne Perez hits the pop rocks, a super pop rocks off the top rope and gets the 1, 2, 3. Roxanne Perez retains her NXT Women's Championship. Look, I don't mind Roxanne Perez. I certainly don't hate Roxanne Perez. I've got nothing bad to say about Roxanne Perez. She's, cute and all this stuff. Totally get that. She's young. She's, learning. I'm sure she will get better. I just don't see her as a champion. I don't see a character there. I don't see why she's the NXT champion. And I get it. Look, they had to get the belt off Mandy Rose. I get that. But surely there is better options for champions. There's better, potential champions in NXT than Roxanne Perez. And this is not me knocking Roxanne Perez or dissing Roxanne Perez. I just don't think she's ready to be the champion on this brand. What is her strong point? Because I don't think she's a great wrestler, and she doesn't have a great character, and she's not great on the pro. I don't even think she has a character, to be honest, and she's not great on the mic, so I don't see what her strong point is. Now, like I say, she's only, 20? She will improve, yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, she's an okay wrestler. She's pretty good for, someone who's 20, but I just don't see why she is the champion. I just don't get it. I don't get it. For me, Cora Jade should never have turned heel. I think Cora Jade should have been the one to take the belt off Mandy Rose, but I mean, it is what it is. They gave it to Roxanne Perez, so who knows? She might get better. I just don't think she's ready to be champion. Then we move into the main event, guys. Steel cage match for the NXT titles. Grayson Waller taking on the champion Braun Breaker. So they come out. Grayson Waller first, then we get the champion Braun Breaker. He comes through a cardboard. There's a cardboard cutout of Grayson Waller, and then Braun Breaker just breaks through it. So back in the day, you had Austin with the glass shattering. Now you get Braun Breaker just coming through a cardboard cutout of Grayson Waller. It's not quite the same, but whatever. I give them credit for trying to do something. He came through a poster essentially of Grayson Waller. It wasn't great, but that's the entrance that we got. Waller attacks Breaker before they get inside the steel cage. He beats him up, and then Braun Breaker overcomes this. He throws Grayson Waller into the ring. Grayson Waller's got on his knees. He's begging. He wants a chance. Then he tries to make a quick escape. Braun Breaker catches him, and then we get the steel cage match. And I mean, it was okay. It was decent. Not spectacular. It's not a 5-star steel cage match. It's not going to be in the top 10 steel cage matches of all time. Or anything like that, but it was okay. I mean, it was a half decent main event, I guess. Braun Breaker hits a big superplex off the top rope, and then he hits a spear on Waller. Then he's talking trash to Waller, but Waller isn't having it. Waller then slaps Braun Breaker. This seems to piss Braun Breaker off, so he runs from one rope to the other rope, then he just keeps bouncing off the ropes, then hits a big massive spear that almost took Grayson Waller out of his boots, and that was it. He gets the 1, he gets the 2, and he gets the 3, and Braun Breaker then retains the NXT Championship. Braun says that this is his dog pound. Ow, ow, ow. There was also a spot during the match where Waller was mimicking. He was mimicking the Braun Breaker dog bark, but he sounded more like a fucking chihuahua than an aggressive dog that you would be scared of. So yeah, I mean, Grayson Waller sounds like a chihuahua. Certainly not like Rick Steiner. But anyway, look, Braun Breaker gets the win. It was okay. Then Braun Breaker climbs the steel cage. He celebrates on top of the steel cage, holding on to the cage. Got one hand on the cage, the other hand's raising the NXT title up in the air as he celebrates with the crowd. By the way, NXT was travelling tonight, so normally NXT's always in the same arena, but they hit the road tonight and they were in a big arena, and it made it look better from a visual standpoint. It does look better, it's seen in the same arena just all the time. It does look cheap, and undoubtedly, in my opinion, that's what held TNA back. When I think of TNA, it's like every TNA show, apart from a couple, like literally every single one was in the Impact Zone. You know, you got the same arena every single week. You know, it does cheapen it a little bit. So I think NXT, the fact that they're on the road and the fact that they can go to different arenas now, I think that will help the product here. And then while Braun Breaker's celebrating, we see Carmelo Hayes come out. Carmelo Hayes, after defeating Apollo Crews, just stares at Braun Breaker, who is celebrating. He didn't even realise that Carmelo Hayes was out there, but Carmelo Hayes on the top of the entrance ramp is just looking at Breaker and obviously looking at the NXT Championship. So I think it's fair to say that Carmelo Hayes wants a title shot against Braun Breaker, and I guess with him beating Apollo Crews, does that make him the new #1 contender? I mean, it might. I mean, if it's not Carmelo Hayes, then who is it? I mean, who's got more claim to a #1 contender spot than Carmelo Hayes? No one. I mean, no one. Apollo Crews can't claim it. He's just lost 2 falls to 0. So he can't say that. Grayson Waller has lost his last 2 matches against Braun Breaker. So he can't be in contention. And apart from that, I mean, who else is there? D-Jack's lost to Wes Lee. Tony D'Angelo is lost to D-Jack. I mean, I guess Wes Lee, but he's the champ, so I doubt they're going to do champ versus champ. So yeah, it looks good for Carmelo Hayes, and if anyone should be getting a title shot against Braun Breaker, it may as well be Carmelo Hayes, guys. But anyway, that's it. That's your NXT Vengeance Day. I mean, it was a decent pay-per-view. It went 2 minutes and it went 2 hours. Didn't go 2 minutes. It went 2 hours and 50 minutes. It was longer than I thought it would be, to be honest. And the main event was actually pretty short in comparison to the other matches. So I don't know. I didn't think it would be that long. There was only 6 matches tonight as well, so a bit too long in my opinion. I think they should try and keep these pay-per-views short. You know, especially because it is the development brand. I think if you want this to be like nearly 3 hours, then put more matches on it. I don't think we need all these matches to be like long matches, like where they're 15, 20 minutes. I think if you want to have a 3-hour pay-per-view with NXT, then they just add a couple more matches to it, because, like I said, these are the rookies or whatever, and a lot of these matches just don't need to be 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So, yeah, that's my opinion. Overall, I thought the show was okay. I'm annoyed that D-Jack didn't win. I think he should have won. He didn't. It is what it is. I mean, it was pretty predictable. I think we all knew Roxanne Perez would win. We all knew Braun Breaker would win. I think we expected Carmelo Hayes to win. The one thing I didn't really expect was the new NXT Women's Champions. That came as a surprise. I kind of thought Gallas would win as well, so I'm not even shocked at that. So yeah, overall, guys, pretty predictable pay-per-view. I'm going to give it I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It was decent, you know, it was solid. The matches, none of the matches were like bad or anything like that, but it wasn't that exciting. You know, there was nothing great about it, and certainly nothing worth staying up watching, or there's no re-watch value. It was just okay, you know. So there you go, guys. 4 out of 10. That's my rating. Let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you in the next one, and of course, until then, been Fog Wrestling. Thanks for watching, and peace.